What if you found a clock that didn't just tell time, but showed you the moments you'd give anything to relive? One man discovered it, and what he saw changed everything. Elias was a man out of time. After losing the love of his life, Clara, he spent his days wandering, searching for something he couldn't name. One evening, he stumbled upon an old clock shop he'd never noticed before. The sign above the door read, Elias Clockworks. His name, his shop, but he'd never been here. Inside, the air was thick with the sound of ticking. Hundreds of clocks lined the walls, each one ticking in perfect harmony. But one clock stood out. It was old, ornate, and glowing with a soft golden light. Elias felt drawn to it, like it was calling his name. As Elias reached out to touch the clock, the hands began to spin backward. Suddenly, he wasn't in the shop anymore. He was in a sunny park, the kind of place he and Clara used to visit. And there she was, Clara, laughing like she used to. "Elias!" she called out. But before he could respond, the vision faded, and he was back in the shop. A voice broke the silence. "That clock isn't just a timepiece," the old clockmaker said. "It shows you the moments you'd give anything to relive. But be careful. Every moment you revisit comes with a price." Elias turned to ask what he meant, but the clockmaker was gone. Elias couldn't resist. He touched the clock again, and the hands spun backward. This time, he was in a cozy living room. Clara was there, holding a baby, their baby, a life they'd never had, a life they'd dreamed of. Tears filled Elias's eyes as he reached out to touch her, but the vision faded before he could. When Elias looked in the mirror, he noticed something strange. His hair was grayer, his face more lined. The clockmaker's warning echoed in his mind. Every moment you revisit comes with a price. Elias realized the truth. The clock wasn't just showing him the past. It was stealing time from his future. Elias knew he shouldn't, but he had to see her one last time. He touched the clock, and the hands spun backward. This time, he was in a hospital room. Clara was lying in a bed, weak but smiling. "Elias," she whispered, "you have to let me go." Tears streamed down his face as he held her hand. "I can't," he said. But the vision faded, and he was back in the shop. Elias looked at the clock. The hands had stopped moving. The golden glow was gone. He realized the truth. The clock had given him what he needed, not what he wanted. It had shown him the moments he'd longed for, but it had also shown him the cost of holding on. The clockmaker appeared one last time. "The clock doesn't just show you the past," he said. "It shows you what you need to see. Sometimes the hardest thing is letting go." Elias nodded, tears in his eyes. He knew what he had to do. Elias left the shop as the sun began to rise. He took one last look at a photo of Clara in his hand, then put it away. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, he felt ready to face it. What moment would you relive? And what would you give to see it again? The clock still exists. And if you ever find it, be careful what you choose.